Let's meet in just a moment our speakers, but let me share a little bit of their bios. I'm sure you're familiar with both of them. Dr. Bart Ehrman is the James A. Gray Distinguished Professor at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He's a graduate of Wheaton. He did his PhD at Princeton Theological Seminary. He has published extensively in the fields of New Testament and early Christianity. Among Dr. Ehrman's fields of scholarly expertise are the historical Jesus, the early Christian Apocrypha, the Apostolic Fathers, and the manuscript tradition of the New Testament. His best-selling books include Misquoting Jesus, God's Problem, and more recently, Jesus Interrupted. Winner of numerous university awards and grants, Professor Ehrman is the recipient of the 1993 Undergraduate Student Teaching Award, the 1994 Philip and Ruth Hedelman Prize for Artistic and Scholarly Achievement, and the Bowman and Gordon Gray Award for Excellence in Teaching.
There's a bumper sticker that reads, "God said it, I believe it." My guest Bart Ehrman's reaction to that is, well, what if God didn't say it? What if the book you take as giving you God's words instead contains human words? Ehrman is the author of the new book, Misquoting Jesus. It's about how the New Testament was altered by the scribes who handwrote each copy and in the process made intentional or unintentional changes. Ehrman chairs the Department of Religious Studies at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He's a scholar of the New Testament and the early church. He was born again at the age of 15 and studied at the Moody Bible Institute. Later, while attending Princeton Theological Seminary, he started to have doubts about the literal interpretations of the Bible. He now describes himself as an agnostic. Let's start with how the Bible was hand-copied for almost 1,500 years.
With the Bible, we're talking about a period before there was movable type, and so for books to be reproduced, they had to be copied by hand. And so all of the books of the New Testament and all of the books, in fact, from all of antiquity were reproduced by hand, which is a very slow, painstaking process. To mass produce a book in the ancient world meant that you would give the book to a company that did these things, and they might have 5 scribes there who would copy the book. And so the mass production, or the Kinkos of the ancient world, was the little scribal shop on the corner where you might have 5 guys doing this to make a living. So the books got copied out by hand, and copying a book by hand, of course, meant copying it one sentence, one word, one letter at a time, and that's not only a painstaking and slow process. It's also the process is open for mistakes to be made, either accidental mistakes, as a scribe is just being careless, or possibly he's tired, or possibly he's inept. And sometimes scribes actually changed the text intentionally. But sometimes they would actually change the text to make it say what they wanted it to say. And so we have these thousands of manuscripts of the New Testament. We have over 5,000 of these manuscripts, but no 2 of them are exactly alike. There are hundreds of thousands of differences in these manuscripts. And so the task is to figure out, what did the author actually write, given the fact that we don't have the originals, given the fact that we don't have the originals, given the fact that we don't have the originals. Right. I started out being interested in the Bible because I was a born-again Christian, a fundamentalist who thought that the very words of the Bible had been given by God. And so I studied Greek in college and decided to read the New Testament in Greek. So the more I studied, though, the more I saw there's an enormous problem. We don't have the original Greek copies of any of these books. All we have are these thousands of manuscripts from centuries later that have all these changes in it.